What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. About a month ago, I started a brand new project, creating a sealed, self-sustaining terrarium ecosystem. I was super excited to see how this little world in a jar would evolve, and today I'm finally ready to share the entire 1-month journey with you. We're going to go from a simple glass jar and some basic materials to a thriving green micro-world. Did it work out? Were there any disasters? You're about to find out. Let's rewind to day 1. The first and most crucial step is setting up the layers. Think of it like building a tiny planet from the ground up. I started with a layer of leca, or lightweight expanded clay aggregate. These little clay balls are fantastic for drainage. They create a false bottom, a reservoir where excess water can collect without waterlogging the soil and rotting the plant roots. This is the foundation of a healthy terrarium. Without good drainage, you're setting yourself up for failure right from the start. On top of the leca, I added a mesh separator. This is a simple but really important piece. It's just a small piece of fine screen, cut to fit the jar. Its job is to keep the soil layer from mixing with the drainage layer. If soil falls into the drainage gaps, it can clog everything up and turn the bottom into a swampy mess. So, this thin mesh acts as a barrier, keeping our layers distinct and functional. It's a small detail that makes a huge difference in the long-term health of the ecosystem. Next up, the heart of our terrarium, the substrate. For this, I used a special terrarium mix. It's a blend of soil, cocoa coir, orchid bark, and other goodies. This mix is designed to be airy, hold moisture well without becoming compacted, and provide nutrients for the plants. You can buy pre-made mixes or create your own. I spread a generous layer, about 2 to 3 inches deep, making sure it was even. This is where our plants will live, so we want to give them a comfortable and nourishing home. Before adding the plants, I wanted to introduce a cleanup crew. Meet the springtails. These tiny white arthropods are the unsung heroes of any terrarium. They are detritivores, which means they feed on decaying organic matter, like fallen leaves and, most importantly, mold. It's by adding a colony of springtails now. I'm preemptively tackling one of the biggest problems in sealed terrariums, mold growth. They will work around the clock, keeping the ecosystem clean and balanced. I just sprinkled them right onto the soil surface. Now, for the fun part, the plants. One chose a few species that are known to thrive in high humidity, low-light environments. First, a beautiful Phytonia, also known as a nerve plant, with its striking veined leaves. Then, some Syngonium, or arrowhead vine, which is a great climber. I also added some creeping fig to act as a ground cover and a small piece of live pillow moss for that lush forest floor look. I carefully placed each plant, making sure their roots were nestled into the soil. Arranging them is like creating a miniature landscape. With the plants in place, it's time for the hardscape. Hardscaping adds structure, dimension, and a natural aesthetic to the terrarium. I chose a piece of spiderwood with interesting branches that reach up towards the top of the jar. It creates height and gives the climbing plant something to attach to. I also added a few small dragon stones, arranging them around the base of the plants to make it look more like a natural rocky outcrop. This is where you can get really creative and design your own little world. The final step before sealing it up is the initial watering. This is probably the most critical watering the terrarium will ever get. You need to add just enough water to moisten the soil and create humidity, but not so much that you flood the drainage layer. I used a spray bottle with distilled water to gently mist the plants in the soil. I kept going until I could see a small amount of water just starting to collect in the leca at the bottom. And with that, the lid goes on. Our little world is now sealed. Let's check in at the 1-week mark. The first thing you'll notice is condensation on the glass. This is a great sign. It means the water cycle is active. Water evaporates from the soil and plants, condenses on the cooler glass, and then rains back down, rehydrating the system. The Phytonia, which was a little wilted after planting, has perked up beautifully. The moss is looking green and vibrant. Springtails are hard to see, but I trust they're busy working. So far, so good. Everything looks healthy and is starting to settle in. Fast forward to week 2. The growth is becoming more noticeable now. The Syngonium has started to send out new leaves, and the creeping fig is beginning to spread across the soil. The water cycle is still very consistent, with a daily rhythm of fogging and clearing. I did spot a tiny bit of white fuzz on the spiderwood. This is a common type of mold that often appears in new terrariums as the environment stabilizes, but I'm not worried. This is exactly why we added the springtails. This is their lunch. Here we are at week 3, and the ecosystem is really starting to feel alive. The mold I saw last week is completely gone. The springtail cleanup crew did their job perfectly. The Phytonia has grown so much that its leaves are starting to press against the glass. The new growth on all the plants is a lighter, brighter green, which is a clear sign of healthy development. The moss has become much fluffier and is spreading. The jar is looking fuller and more established. It's amazing to see how quickly things can change in a sealed environment. And now, we've reached the 1-month milestone. Let's take a close look at the progress. The transformation is incredible. The arrowhead vine has sent runners climbing up the spiderwood. The creeping fig is creating a dense carpet over the soil. The Phytonia is lush and vibrant, a beautiful centerpiece. The moss is thriving. The glass has some algae on the inside, which is another natural part of a sealed ecosystem. It's completely self-sufficient. I haven't opened it or added any water since day 1. Looking back, this project has been a huge success. We created a stable, thriving, and beautiful little world. The key was careful planning, creating the right layers for drainage, choosing the right soil and plants, and introducing a cleanup crew from the very beginning. This terrarium is a perfect example of how nature works in miniature, a delicate balance of water, light, plants, and microorganisms. It's a living piece of art that will continue to grow and change over time. I'm so happy with how it turned out. This little jar on my desk is a constant source of wonder. If you've ever thought about making a terrarium, I hope this journey inspires you to give it a try. It's such a rewarding and fascinating hobby. What do you think of the final result? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed watching this ecosystem develop, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more projects like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.